guys, welcome back to the next video. And this video I actually did the Sicilian Najdorf. So I've been looking at a couple of videos on it and I actually played it out. So I actually did the opening move, so the opening preparation. So Sicilian is always c5. Sometimes you can delay it or you can go straight in the dragon, but yeah, this is the Sicilian, and the open Sicilian is this. But we've got other ideas, so we're going to defend here. So this is the defensive Sicilian at the moment. We attack and change, and then this is the open variation. Now he's playing like playing like Mikey did, but not quite. So and this is the Najdorf. So this is the Najdorf move, which is actually quite a powerful move. It's a proactive move, but it's very powerful because it controls this square. If you have a look at all his pieces, I actually want to land on this square. So this is how I should have opened the game against Mikey D, but I didn't. So I was one video shy of playing this, unfortunately, but we'll see. It's still a close game of the challenge, and yeah, we'll see how we go with this. So he comes down, running onto my knight, but there's no pin here because I've got the pawn, but I just ignore that and I want to put pressure on his knight. So whenever his knights move forward, we want to get them out of our area, and I probably want to think about going here as well. So he moves his knight, now he's defending this square. So sometimes in the scenario we can get tactics where we can get our bishop out here, and then what happens is if he keeps his bishop here and doesn't trade, we can attack here first and put pressure, and then he has to take our bishop, and then sometimes we can take this bishop without the defender, because sometimes they're knights defending, but when you take them they're not defending anymore, and then you can actually take both for one piece. So it's just a tactic you keep an eye on, but it's not in this case anyway. So we put the pin on. It's one of my favorite moves, like I said in previous videos. Now he's removed the pin, like I told you we should always do. This is interesting here, but we have the pin here as well, so we can't move that knight. So we remove the pin now, so that's good. And he's defending his piece here. So you've got to be very careful. So this is where he might possibly want to go here. And then what I told you before is if he takes my defender first, then he can take for free and get that piece. So you've got to be careful of this tactic. It's a common theme. It's one of those themes that it's just, if you don't think about it, they can take a piece off you, and you could actually take pieces off them. That happens quite often. Okay, so he's ran away. Not sure why he ran away there. He should have probably, this square is so much better. So he went the wrong way with the retreat. So now he's actually trapping himself. So if we go here, then he's sort of trapped. He can't really do anything, and it's a funny looking bishop. So it's not the right square. So he should have went back here. So you want to go on you want to choose the squares that create the most pressure. And if you've got the pin, it's understandable, but there's no pin. So you don't go back here and trap your bishop in the corner and restrict his moves. You want to keep your pieces in more active positions. Okay. So if you're going to take anything away from this video, more active position, and keep the pressure on as well. Okay, so simple development move. So the bishops are looking good here. I like having the bishops like this. I'm not sure what the name is when the queen is here, and it does this as well, but I'm not sure if when the queen's sitting here, that's got a name as well, but I can't remember the name of that. If you can say it in the comments, that would be handy. I will probably look it up towards this week sometime. Okay, so he's moved his bishop out. It's pretty passive, and he's just defending. He's defending this pawn twice now, so it was really a nothing move. Probably better off going here, maybe moving his knight, maybe moving his bishop down here. I'm not sure. He's starting to lose a lot of room. So even this square was taken. This square is definitely taken as well. So that's one thing. If you can't move anyway, try and restrict your opponent's moves as well. So if you have a look, his pieces are all getting restricted and he can't move. So he's got really no place to move his knight. So that's what we really want. So if you have a look there, he can't move his knight anyway. He's got this square here, and that's about it. And this knight really doesn't have any squares either. It's only got this one. It's only got backward moves. So if you have a look at that already, just having a look at all the pieces, even this one's getting trapped in the corner. So my structure, if you have a look at this, it's tying down our opponent, and our opponent's got nowhere to go. And this is what I said, if you've got control and dominating the chessboard, there is no point getting rid of pieces, trading pieces. You just want to apply pressure and just squeeze and just force them into doing a mistake. Not you doing a mistake, but them. And you can just, yeah. And now we're just getting our rook into an active file. So just opening up here. And it's a semi-open file as well. So you want to get your rooks into open files or semi-open. And it's even better because our pawn is not, there's no pawn for us. So we're actually not stopping our rook from looking down the board. So he castles, that's perfectly fine. And now this is a good square for our queen, because we can target and pin the pawn. And also we're looking down this board as well. So he's restricted and he can't move his knight here. He can still move his knight here. So he's still got that board. And he's still got that piece to move there. He runs away from the pin, which is perfectly fine. He understands about pins. So we castle. Not sure if I should have castled, because at this stage we could have try and put both our rooks here and looking down the board here, and really start applying pressure and pushing the pawns down and see if we could break through. He's done a really passive move now, so he's got nowhere to go. So he's just going into defensive lockdown. So he's just going into a turtle type, going into his shell. So it's what you call waiting to lose, unless, of course, that some players actually do that. They're not aggressive, but what they'll do is they'll play so passive and just wait for you to blunder, and then they'll go poof, and then they'll just counter attack you. Not everyone is aggressive. So what have we done here? This is a tactic. So if we take here, now we're attacking here, and if you're not careful, we're also attacking here that's undefended. So this is why you should really keep your pieces defended at all times, or they become targets to these tactics. And this is why you got to coordinate your pieces as well. So we take that, and now we're looking at this square, and now this file is opened up. So this is looking really good now for us, and the bishop's looking nice. What's not to like about this one? It's really good. So even the bishop's starting to look around just to try and, or the knight's starting to, when it needs to get active. That's probably this is probably the worst piece at the moment. And probably this rook as well. Maybe not doing much, but it's connected. It's protecting this rook, so that's important. Okay, so he's trying to defend this file, but he's got a pawn blocking his rook, so it really doesn't solve anything here. So we can apply pressure. So if you have a look here, the queen's tagging that spot, and the pawn and the knight, the pawn, so here. And also, if we wanted to be greedy, we could take his knight there too. He's still got this spot, but we have pressure, and that'll keep the queen on top of the knight. So okay, so he runs back. So now the queen is tied down defending that knight. So we can actually, so we attack again. This is probably a mistake on my part. So this square is now open. So whenever you move your pawns forward, you weaken these squares. Okay, so now my pawn's attacking these squares. But yeah, weakening these squares. And also, we've got to be careful of this pawn as well, because there's a gap here as well. So these two can become hanging pawns. Okay, so that's when these pawns don't have defenders behind them, especially the defender here. But in this case, we still can move forward. Okay, so we apply pressure onto the knight. So we didn't want our opponent's knight to feel comfortable, so we pushed him back. So he ran back. So at this scenario, I was happy to open up and kill the knight. So at the same time, if he takes the bishop, he doubles his pawns. So he doubles his pawns, and more importantly, he opens this file up to the king, and that's something you don't want to do. So we go for the trade. Perfectly good trade. Okay, and then we're going to apply some more pressure with the bishops on the side, because the bishops work very good with the rook targeting. So the rook would be good here, and then you'd have your bishops guarding this square, and even there, and you can just even the rook. So there's common checkmate themes where the rook can cover these squares, but the bishops take these squares away. Okay, so we're trying to bust open the center now. So I want to get my rooks across and try and attack the king, because the king's exposed. So we trade, and we still got. So he attacks. He's actually just giving away another material, but I did a cheeky move here and just went for the queen. And plus, we're opening this spot as well. So sometimes being greedy for material, I know this opens up this file, but at this stage we can we're in attack, he should be defending, and it just looks nice. And so he goes and runs away, and we go back away from the knight. So whenever you do a plan whenever you do a plan after your piece is threatened, you've got to remember the original threat. It's so easy to forget about that, and that's something I do is forget about the different threats. So you have to go back and remember it. Okay, so now we're still pinning that knight, the pawn, and now we're attacking the knight, and we've got X-ray attack on the pawn as well. So because this pawn's undefended, this knight can't move. So we really want to attack this knight, because this knight's blocking this square. It's sort of a desperate play. We're going to move our rook anyway. We wanted to move him here. And that's what we did. He takes the pawn, so that's quite interesting. So he takes the pawn here, undefended. But our main goal was already done, so our queen's already set up. We're just trying to open up this square. We don't even care about these pawns. These pawns did what they needed to do, and that was break open. So now all we're doing is trying to put pressure on the weakness that we created. And you can already see now how it's all forming. And even if we take here, then we've got this piece that we can take eventually as well. And we'll probably put pressure on the rook too. But he blocks the rook. So now we can just take. Wait, he takes the bishop. We take the queen, and now we're putting pressure on here. Not sure if the trade with the bishops was the best thing to do, but we do have our queen in a good spot. And we do have these two here. He's pushed forward, so he's trying to block that area, but the main weakness for him is not this area. He doesn't really have to be concerned here, because he's got his rook, his queen here, and he's not. This is where he needs to be worried about. So this is his weakness right here, an open file in front of his king. Always remember that is your weakest point, the open file in front of the king. Okay, so he moves his knight, and what he does is he gives me an open file again. So moving the knight was a disaster, because he was defending this square, and if we took, then we could take, but yeah, it would be an equal trade. Well, actually it wouldn't be an equal trade. He'd take a rook and a queen for a queen, and I wouldn't want to lose what is it, 14 pieces for 9. So anyway, so we put pressure on here. I'm thinking about moving up here eventually. So he goes to attack. All this effort to go on my pawn, but we're not interested in the pawn now. But he's worried about us going this way, but I'm really just thinking about going this way. Okay, so he thinks I'm going, want to go up here, but I'm really just, I just want to go there. So he attacks. Actually, yeah, I could have went here and put him in check. Oh, the queen's here. Sorry. Yeah, the queen's there. So I can't do that. So I'll move out the way, and now he can take. Oh, and it's in that spot that my opponent resigned anyway. So unfortunately, he resigned. He was running out of time. He had 3.2 seconds left, so he probably ran out of time. But yeah, it was looking really good, and just had to put pressure on the queen, on this queen, because it was trying to take this spot. I really wanted to get into this spot, so if he ever moved down here, it would be a blunder on his part, and we could go across. Also wanted to double up, put the queen here with the rook, and then take that square as well. So we could have even sneaked over here to trade here. So the next move I could have done was, so moving here, the next move I could have done was take that and then take the knight, because the knight would be there and we'd be up in more material. So we're +1 at the moment, but we'd be +4 after that, plus whatever advantage we have on the board, because our king is pretty safe here. So anyway, guys, that's the end of the video, and that's my Najdorf Sicilian, and it's looking pretty. And it just takes a bit more practice to play that and just to see what other scenarios. So the Najdorf Sicilian is supposed to be a sharp and exciting setup as well. So pretty solid as well. So it's not one that's easily broken. So it'll be interesting, because when I was doing the King's Indian, I'm pretty strong with that now. But yeah, the Sicilian was weak, but now the Najdorf might be a different story. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.